My mom texted, "We need space from your kids. Don't bring them to holidays anymore. At all." My dad gave a thumbs up. I said, "Of course," and canceled the mortgage payment first. By midnight, the family... My name is Laura. I'm 33. Oldest daughter, default problem solver, the one who keeps spare batteries in a Ziploc and knows which cousin is allergic to walnuts. I work logistics for a regional delivery company. Routes, spreadsheets. Can you cover the 6 p.m. window? Scanners that die after lunch. I have 2 kids. Ben is 7 and built out of springs. Liv is 5 and asks why until the word dissolves. We live in a small apartment with a balcony that faces a brick wall and a basil plant that keeps threatening to quit. Wednesdays are lentils. Fridays are pizza on the baking sheet that will never be perfectly clean again. In my family, I'm the early one. I show up with the foil pans, the outlet strip, the folding chairs from the trunk. My sister, Val, is the shining one. Arrives late with a story and a perfect photo. My mother calls me steady. My father gives a thumbs up and turns the game on low. That's the rhythm. Ben is not built for long, formal dinners. He needs space to bounce, a job to do, a timer. Liv is inquisitive and loud about it. I tell hosts this. I bring activities. I offer to stay and clean. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it's like trying to hold water in a colander with both hands and a smile. On a Sunday afternoon in late November, I was folding laundry. Tiny socks doing that thing where they hide in sleeves. While the kids watched a cartoon with the volume set to Respect the Neighbors, my phone pinged. Mom, we need space from your kids. Don't bring them to holidays anymore. At all. I stared at all until the letters stopped moving. A minute later, Dad reacted with a thumb up. No, let's talk. No, we love them, but... Just a thumbs up emoji. Like he was approving a delivery. I put the phone face down on the coffee table. I washed 3 clean plates because my hands needed to do something. I looked at the calendar magneted to the fridge. 2 weeks until Christmas Eve. I had already bought paper ornaments so nothing would break at my parents' house. I had written, bring mashed potatoes and ask for extra chair. I had circled, arrive early to set up the folding table. All that ink felt old. Liv touched my wrist with her soft hand. Mom, she whispered like we were hiding from a bear. Are we going to Grandma's tomorrow? I said, no, keeping my voice flat. We're going to make cookies here and invite whoever wants to come to our table. Then, eyes still on the screen, can we put a lot of cinnamon? We can. I typed, of course. That's all. I hit send. Then I slid the phone under a magazine, like I was tucking it into bed. Val texted 10 minutes later. Don't take it like that. Mom's stressed. It's temporary. You know how she is. I didn't answer. I opened the window. The air smelled like someone else's bleach. I didn't cancel anything that night. I didn't move money, didn't call, didn't post. I brushed crumbs off the rug. I put the kids to bed. I sat on the hallway floor and cried for exactly 10 minutes. Then I washed my face, tucked the crying into a mental drawer, and set an invisible note on the counter. This isn't about revenge. This is about closure. By midnight, the family group chat started to hum like a storm 3 towns over, flickers at the edge of the map. I turned my phone off and slept like someone had unplugged me. I didn't grow up in a cruel family. I grew up in a practical one where unspoken rules were more durable than the furniture. Mom did order, Dad did repairs. I made lists, Val did sparkle. When I turned 15, Mom gave me responsibility as a gift. Call the dentist, pick up prescriptions, grab bread before the bakery closes. I was good at executing. I got, what would we do without our Laura? And a kiss on the forehead. That's how you build a role. Praise plus function equals identity. I moved in with Tom at 22. By 29, I was a single mom with 2 kids and a custody schedule written in a font that makes your stomach hurt. Tom pays what the agreement says. No more, sometimes a week late, sometimes with a note that says, sorry, tight. I am not making him the villain. I am saying, the math lands here. 3 years ago, Dad got cut down to part-time at the plant. The mortgage didn't shrink. Temporarily, I set up an automatic transfer from my account to cover their payment. Day one of every month, out it went. Mom said, "We'll make it right when things stabilize." Dad gave a thumbs up and said, "Later we'll square it," which in my family is a lullaby we hum until nobody needs to hear the words. Later didn't show up. Other expenses did. "Can you spot us the car insurance this month? The water heater is flashing at code. Can you put the tech on your card? We're short for the big grocery run. It's a crazy week." I kept a sheet at first with amounts and dates. Then I stopped because seeing it in rows made me feel ugly, and I prefer tired over bitter. Val lives in another city and arrives for holidays like a wind chime. Sparkly, pleasant, inconsequential. She brings gluten-free something that nobody eats, but everyone compliments. She posts #family and leaves with clean hands. She's not bad. She's built for feelings that fit in captions. I'm built for people's boring needs. Ben is a lot. That's not an insult in my house. He needs structure like other kids need snacks. If you give him a job and a timer, he will carry the room on his round little shoulders. Liv is pure question mark and sucks her thumb when she runs out of why. At my parents' place, the chairs have corners at head height, and the porcelain angels menace from every surface. The tablecloth is off-white and older than I am. Mom calls it the good one and lays it like an altar. I go to dinners with a tote of activities, tape down an activity zone, and spend the meal lightly sweating in a cardigan while saying, "Buddy, gentle hands," without making it a thread. Sometimes we leave with no blood. Sometimes we leave with a story that will be told when I'm not in the room. The message, "Don't bring them at all," didn't fall out of clear sky. There were clouds, like, "Maybe come alone to Uncle Joe's this year so you can have adult conversation," or "Ben would really benefit from learning to sit still for a full meal," or "Liv is very bright, but very persistent." I nodded. I tried. I bought weighted lap pads. I taught Ben to be the napkin captain. I accepted that if a tantrum happened, it meant I had failed because that's the kind of lie that keeps you polite. I like clean lines, so I looked at our money. My spreadsheet has 4 main columns: rent, utilities, kids, and family. I won't tell you the exact number in family, but I will say it was the same as 3 months of my rent. Every year, for 3 years. The temporary I had been funding could have been a door with a lock and a window that faced not a brick wall. It could have been the violin rental Liv keeps asking about. It could have been Ben's occupational therapy without me triaging which weeks were really necessary. The night after the text, Val called. "Don't freeze Mom out. She just panicked." About what? Mashed potatoes? She wants peace, Lou. So do I. But if peace requires my kids to disappear, it's not peace. It's a bribe. You're being dramatic. I'm making a plan. What plan? I didn't say it. I held it like you hold a match before it becomes a flame. A week before Christmas, Mom called with her soft leader voice. "Sweetie, you know we adore the kids. It's just, we're older. They get very wound up. You don't relax. We want you to come by yourself, a glass of wine, adult talk. The kids can be with Tom or a sitter. It'll be restful. And honestly, Ben needs to learn to..." "To what?" I asked. "To adapt," she said, like she was saying, "to evolve." I thought of Ben running at the park, full throttle joy. I thought of Liv explaining why tomatoes are suspicious because of seeds but no crunch. I thought very calmly, they will not learn to exist in a house that wishes them smaller. Val texted me, "I'll still go, but I won't let them say anything rude. Pinky promise." She means well the way confetti means well at a funeral. I printed the last 3 months of bank statements and a summary of autopay. I highlighted the mortgage line. I highlighted the water heater charge. I highlighted car insurance. I looked at them until my eyes lost focus. Then I wrote 4 sentences on a piece of paper and stuck it on the fridge with a magnet shaped like a cow. Don't negotiate your kid's existence. Don't pay admission to your own family. Don't explain a no twice. Don't confuse quiet with peace. I didn't cancel the transfer yet. I wanted my hands steady when I did it. I needed to say it out loud first. I texted my parents, "I'm coming by Thursday at 7. Alone." Mom sent a heart. Dad sent a thumbs up. I printed the paper I wrote and a second paper with numbers because I know my mother respects ink more than voice. They had coffee waiting like it was a bribe. Mom wore her hosting smile. Dad had the same cardigan he's had since I was 12, a constellation of pills on the shoulder. "Don't be prickly," Mom said before hello, which is how she says hello. I put my papers on the table and sat where the sunlight doesn't hit your eyes. "I'm not here to fight," I said. "I'm here to be plain." Mom folded her hands like the head of a committee. "We just want what's best for everyone." "Great," I said. "Here's what's best for us. If my kids aren't welcome at your holidays, we won't be at your holidays. I won't bring them where they're not wanted. And I won't come without them to places they're banned from." "Laura," Mom started, voice dipped in sugar. "No one is banned." "You said at all." "That was poorly worded." Dad cleared his throat. "Your mother meant—" "She meant what she wrote," I said. "It was clear, so I'll be clear. Starting January 1, I'm canceling the automatic mortgage transfer. I'm not covering extras unless we agree in advance and in writing. I'll still help with appointments and rides if you ask with notice, but I'm not paying admission to a table my kids can't sit at." Mom's face went through 4 expressions in a row: surprise, offense, wounded dignity, calculation. "We will lose the house," she said, like an actor hitting a line. "You will call the bank," I said. "You'll refinance or extend the term. I will go with you and sit there while they explain the options. We'll make a budget. You will sell the snowblower you haven't used in 10 years. There are many steps before lose the house. Me silently bleeding so you can have porcelain angels is not one." "How dare you?" Mom said, very quiet. Dad stared at the table. "We didn't think you would mind," he muttered, which is maybe the truest thing he has ever said. "I minded the first time you told me my kids were a lot, and I smiled like a Girl Scout. I minded the second time you suggested I come alone, so the conversation could be adult. I minded when you used 'we'll square it later' as a lullaby. I minded more today." Mom reached for the old weapon. "Val understands. She'll come. She won't bring drama." "Val doesn't have kids, and even if she did, we're not in a competition." "You're so cold." "I'm calm," I said. "It surprises you because you're used to me being useful." She put her hand on her chest. "So this is revenge." "No," I said, steady as a plank on blocks. "This isn't about revenge. This is about closure." Silence. The refrigerator hummed like a witness. I stood. "Christmas Eve is at my place this year. If you come to a house with kids. There will be plastic cups and paper garlands, and someone will cry. If you don't come, I won't ask why." Dad looked up. Are we still invited?" "Yes, always, with Ben and Liv present as themselves." On my way out, Mom said, "You're setting this family on fire." "I'm finally turning off the gas. You can light a candle if you want to see." I sat in my car and shook just enough that I held the steering wheel like a life preserver. I didn't cry. I drove to the grocery store and bought cinnamon and flour and more dish soap than I needed because my body wanted to carry something. The next morning, I logged into my bank and canceled the mortgage transfer. I emailed the bank's customer service to confirm and saved the confirmation as a PDF. I wrote an email to my parents and CC'd Val. Subject: changes effective Jan 1. Mortgage transfer canceled. Happy to sit with you at the bank to restructure. I won't process any just this once payments by text. Holidays at my place include kids. RSVP either way. This is not punitive, it's a boundary. Laura. Val called within 10 minutes. You really did it? Yes. Mom can call the bank. You are being cruel. No, for once, I'm not being cruel to myself. That night, I mixed butter and sugar with 2 kids' elbows helping. We cut stars and trees. Ben shook cinnamon like a kid with a memory. Liv pressed a plastic cup into dough and called them moons. I texted my neighbor, Mrs. Green, who is 72, and swears loudly at squirrels. Do you want to come for cookies next week? She said, do I have to pretend the raisins are good? I said no. She said I'm in. By midnight, the group chat was a bonfire. What happened? I heard Laura is punishing her parents. The kids are wild. Someone had to say it. Not taking sides, but I left the chat. I turned my phone face down. I stood on my balcony and breathed cold air and thought, I'm not funding my own erasure anymore. The echo lasted days. Mom called daily with alternating scripts. Guilt, I gave you life, and bait. Come alone and I'll make you that lamb you like. Dad sent 3 thumbs up emoji and 1 call later that happened a week late. Val posted an Instagram story, reminder, family is not a bargaining chip. No names, obvious target. I ignored it. I organized. I built a new budget. The family column shrank. 2 new lines appeared. Ben OT swing sessions and Liv violin trial. I bought a wipeable tablecloth and unbreakable cups. I texted 3 relatives individually, not in a group, inviting them to my Christmas Eve. I wrote, if you come to a kid's house. There will be noise and naps and mashed potatoes. If that's not your thing, I understand. Aunt Joan wrote, I'll bring rolls. Cousin Matt wrote, I'll try. 2 people said nothing. That's data too. I called Ben's teacher and asked for strategies. She said, give him a job, give him breaks, tell him the plan. I made signs. Ben equals napkin captain. Liv equals spoon queen. We practiced with a neighbor dinner. Ben placed napkins like he was laying track. Liv counted spoons and announced 4 means 4. It wasn't Instagram pretty. It was ours. Dad texted privately. Bank appointment Friday. Come? I went. A woman my age with a tidy haircut explained options. Dad chose an extended term that lowered their payment by $160. We signed. He said thank you without an emoji. That's not nothing. Mom called after. So, will you restart the transfer now, that the payment is lower? No, I said. I said what I said. You're really cold. I'm warm where it counts. And I hung up before the next line could find me. 2 days before Christmas, Val showed up at my door with a bag of something organic and a candle that smelled like woodland, if woodlands were rich. I'm not apologizing for all of it, just the part where I used family to avoid noticing that Mom is rigid and you carry too much. I want to help. I can chop, I can wash, I can take pictures without filters. I let her in. Ben put a paper crown on her head. She wore it. Christmas Eve looked like a thrift store and a daycare had a baby. Aunt Joan came with rolls. Cousin Matt brought a pie from the cheap place that pies always taste like the national average. Mrs. Green swore at the raisins and then ate them anyway. Dad came for an hour, sat on the edge of the couch like a visiting official, ate mashed potatoes, looked at the light fixture the way men look at things they will not fix, and left with a foil packet for Mom. He came back later for more potatoes and a Tupperware, and the ornament Liv insisted they take, a popsicle stick star glued slightly askew. He held it like a legal document. He put it in his pocket. Ben bounced, but not like a pinball. He had a job. He did great. Liv asked why the star at the top doesn't fall off. Val actually answered without a speech. Because it's attached, she said. Like us. And Liv said, like us. And everyone looked away so they wouldn't cry in front of the potatoes. At midnight, the old group chat exploded with, tradition matters, and it's not Christmas without the good tablecloth. I didn't read it. I stood at my sink and washed a mountain of plastic cups while the basil plant pretended to thrive. When the kids fell asleep, Val and I cleaned the kitchen quietly. You did it, "You made something." I said, "It's just dinner." We both knew it wasn't just anything. January is always a cranky month. Mom texted, "We've decided to do our gatherings adult only for a while." Dad hearted. I wrote back, "I wish you well." Val tried a coffee to clear the air. I said, "No coffee without my kids." She said, "You are rigid." I said, "I'm a door with hinges." There were bad days. Ben broke a cup. It wasn't porcelain, so the world did not end. Liv spilled cocoa on the tablecloth. It wiped. Tom dropped them off late, and I said nothing because we were doing okay, and I didn't have the energy to fight a separate war. My boss offered me lead on a pilot route project. I said yes because money is the difference between a hard month and a scary one. I took Val up on washing dishes twice. She didn't post about it. That is growth. One morning, an envelope from the county sat in my mailbox. Review of benefits. Words like eligibility and documentation. I hate those words. I called the number and pressed 241 and spoke to 3 people who were all named Ashley in my head. I emailed PDFs. I took a photo of the kids' school schedule. It resolved in a week. I developed a twitch in my left eyelid that lasted 4 days. A Tuesday in January, Mom showed up with a store-bought cake in a box that said, "Family," in cursive. She didn't text first. She stood on my doormat like a traveling apology. "Don't make me say it," she said. "Just let me in." "This is a kid house," I said. "If you come in, you come into that." She looked over my shoulder. Ben was making a tower of couch cushions. Liv was singing the verse of a song she didn't know the rest to. "I don't know how to be a grandmother like this," she said. "You can learn," I said. "Or you can stay on the porch. But I won't leave them at the door." She left with the cake. I cried for 5 minutes in the bathroom and then made pancakes. The kids put flour on my nose, and we laughed like people who chose it. 2 weeks later, an envelope with no return address arrived. $100 and a note that said, "For the kids, no strings. A neighbor." It was Mrs. Green's handwriting. I brought her a plate of cookies and tried to return it. She swore at me and shoved it back. "You taught a class in boundaries by accident," she said. "Take the tuition." I put it in the envelope taped inside my cabinet labeled extracurriculars. I wrote a card and taped it inside the mug cabinet. "I will not pay to be erased. I will not let family be a password to my wallet. I will not explain a no more than once. I will show up where my kids are welcome." I read it on Monday mornings when my chest feels like a drawer that won't close. Closure wasn't a door slam. It was a click you only hear if you're listening for it. Today, if you ask, I say, "I'm Laura. I'm 33. I'm Ben and Liv's mother first, my parents' daughter second," which is new and not cruel. I didn't reconnect the mortgage transfer. I sat beside my dad at the bank and kept my promise to help with grown-up help. Mom mostly stayed mad that love didn't look like a direct debit. That isn't mine to fix. Val and I are in good terms, like a plant that you water correctly. Not too much, not never. She came to the school play and clapped like the building was on fire. She fixed Liv's bent headband and didn't charge me in "remember when I helped" interest. We hosted Easter with plastic eggs and a tablecloth we didn't have to fear. We will host Thanksgiving with paper plates and a lot of foil. If my parents come, there will be a chair. If they don't, there will still be a chair. Ben asked me last week, "Are Grandma and Grandpa mad at me?" I said, "No. They're confused about what holidays should feel like." He asked, "Do we get to go back?" I said, "We are already home." Liv said, "Does home have cinnamon?" I said, "Yes." This isn't revenge. It's closure. It's refusing to fund my own exclusion. It's a budget with lines that have our names on them. It's a wipeable tablecloth and a popsicle stick star and a basil plant trying again. It's a card taped in a cabinet and the quiet that shows up when you draw a real line and then keep it, even when the group chat lights up at midnight. If you want a moral, I wrote mine down so I don't forget. Don't pay admission to your family. Don't apologize for your kid's existence. Don't confuse silence with peace. And when someone texts at all about the people you are protecting, answer, of course. Then protect them and yourself for real. By the way, the basil lived. Barely. That's enough. I don't need lush, I need honest. And I'm building it. One boundary, one bill, one cookie at a time.